Before you join your cuff side of your mitt to your top, what you want to do is turn your thumb. And you want to get your, get your finger in there and get that thumb seam nice and smooth, because this is the point where you're going to have the best flexibility to do that. It's not going to be easy to do once this is all sewed up. So, it looks good once it's turned. And so that's going to be the inside. And then we're going to sew it to the top mitt. But do it before you sew it to the top mitt. So I'm using Polar Tec 300 fleece for the lining on my mittens. And I've got these marked out. I'm going to cut them and sew them, and I'm going to join it up by fur machine. So they're going to get sewed just like my fur mitts. And they turned out pretty nice. I got them all joined up. And, they look good. So I just turned them, and they feel good. I got the tops all smooth, and we're going to do the liners next. And then we'll show you what happens after that. When you're working with fleece, you want to make sure that you cut your pattern pieces for your mitt with the stretch going across, not up and down. You want the stretch to go across. So your mitt would lay out this way on the fleece. So there's no stretch going, there's minimal stretch going the length, but if it was going to stretch, it would go across. And when you cut your fleece, what I like to do is if that's my line that I marked my pattern on, I like to cut just on the inside of that line so it will fit better in the mitt, because I just don't want it too bulky on the inside, and I've done enough of these to know that it's better to cut it just a little bit shy, so you don't have to come back and smooth it out and take out a little bit after you got it joined up. When I'm sewing the fleece by fur machine, what I like to do is sew around one way, and then I flip it over and sew it again the other way. And you do not want to stretch this while you're sewing. So you want to just keep the fleece as nice as you can without stretching it. And you can see how good it feeds that way. So otherwise you're just going to get a really ripply seam. So here we have our fleece liners all sewed together, and they're pretty good. They have a little ripple in the top of this one, but you won't notice it once you have your hand in the mitt. So what we're going to do next is I am going to put on the edge of the fur a piece of cotton twill tape, and then I sew that on the edge of the fur first. Then we're going to put our mitt in, fit our mitt liner, in, and then we'll fit that into the glove, and then I'll show you how we finish off the top. This is my cotton twill tape that I'm using. I like this because it's soft, it wears well, and I just think it's a good use. So what I do is I get the 1¼ inch width. I was using an inch wide, and it just seemed too narrow. So I prefer the 1¼ inch. So what I did was, this is the back side of the mitt, or the cuff side of the mitt, and opposite the thumb, I usually start my twill tape on this side and go around and stitch it directly to the fur. And then I come where it meets, and I do a 90-degree kind of like miter, and I just sewed that by fur machine. So I trimmed off the one side, and this side I'm going to like tuck up and fold when I get my liner in. So this will have a nice finish on the edge once this is turned back. And we're going to stuff our mitt liner in here, and I'll show you what we're going to do next. I have my liner inside my mitt, and what I did was I matched it at each outside seam on the, where they joined up together. And then I put my hand in, smoothed it all out really nice, and came up to the top, pinned it around like I've got it pinned, and then I trimmed that fleece so it was flush with the top edge right here where I've got the twill tape sewed on. And if I go this way, it looks like it's shy, but when I hold it like that, it's like it's dead on. They're both together. So what I'm going to do next is take it over to the fur machine, and I'm going to stitch the fleece to that seam edge right there where I had the twill tape on. I might need to trim this just a hair, but it's pretty good. And then I'll show you how we finish this tape back. After I have that twill tape attached to the top edge there, and I've caught that fleece. So I've got my fleece attached to the same edge as my fox and my twill tape. And I sewed that all the way around with a looser stitch. I didn't need to have a real tight stitch on that. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this twill tape, and I've pinned it here so you can see it. And what I do is I leave a nice edge at the top. This is firm because it has that seam allowance in there that we've got with those thicknesses. But if I pulled it where the fur was further inside, it wouldn't feel very good. And this is going to give a little bit of a edge so that fur won't wear out when you're using it. So, and it's nice, the fur hides it when it's on, so you won't see it. What I do is I pin it, and then I take my tailor's chalk, I use this wax chalk, and I mark it where the edge comes to. And I go all the way around. I might do a couple hash marks like I did here, so I'm sure I get it nice and straight sewed on when I get it. And then after I've got it marked, I'm going to pull this forward a little bit. So I'm pulling the liner like towards me, so it's a little looser. Then I can grab the liner and the edge of this twill tape, and I'm going to stitch it all the way around with a looser stitch by fur machine, and it's all done. Now here where I had that join where that miter was, I just fold that back up in there, and it'll look real good when I get it done. So I'll show you when it's finished. When you're at the machine attaching the twill tape to your liner, to the fleece, you're sewing the twill tape to the liner, not the liner to the twill tape. So you want the twill tape towards you and the liner to the back side. I've got my stitch released, and I've already got this sewed down. After I get it sewed down and I've gone all the way around, what I do is I take my thumb and I run my thumb over that stitch, and it relaxes that stitch because I'd used a little less tension and I used a little longer stitch so that it's not a tight stitch, but yet it'll stay secure, and that will smooth out, and it worked good. And all I did was I just, pulled this liner out from the inside up a little bit so that it gave me a good working area. And then after I'm done, I'll just push it back in and smooth it out, and this chalk comes right off. If it doesn't come off real quick, then I just take a little bit of my warm iron and run over that wax, and it'll come right out. Well, they're finished. So this is the right mitt, and I'll turn it around, show you. Oh, I guess it's left. And there's the inside. So it looks good. And then this is the other mitt. So I think they're going to be it's going to be a lovely pair, and they're going to enjoy wearing it.